This is The Wire for 2300 Zulu, October 29th, 2025. Press is routine. Information cutoff is 2200. Bottom line up front. Another stabbing strikes Britain as tensions remain high. War continues in Middle East. Hurricane makes landfall in Jamaica. Beginning with international events. In the United Kingdom, another stabbing was reported this morning, which resulted in the murder of a woman at a residential address in Brixton. One male assailant was arrested for the murder at the McCormick House in Tulse Hill after being tased by responding officers. In the Middle East, the war continues as before, with a large-scale bombing campaign being undertaken in Gaza. Prime Minister Netanyahu stated that he ordered quote-unquote forceful strikes to be carried out in the region, which mostly were carried out in Gaza City and Rafah. Approximately 82 casualties were reported as a result of the strikes. Analysts comment. The reason for the airstrikes is not entirely clear. IDF officials cited some unnamed incident in Rafah, but did not go into any further detail. Either way, once the strikes were complete, the ceasefire was declared to be on again. In the Caribbean overnight, Hurricane Melissa made landfall on the island of Jamaica, with widespread devastation being reported throughout the nation. Large-scale flooding was also reported in Cuba after the hurricane made landfall there a few hours later. So far, the scale of the disaster is not fully known in either nation, as it will take some time to understand where the hardest-hit areas are located. On the home front in Mississippi, this morning local authorities clarified the details of yesterday's escape of medical research monkeys. Initial reports that one monkey remained at large were untrue. A recount revealed that actually 3 monkeys remain at large in Jasper County. Analyst comments for this wire. In the United Kingdom, the victim of yesterday's stabbing attack has been identified as Wayne Broadhurst, and a vigil was held in Uxbridge overnight. The 2 other victims have not been identified, however one is reportedly a 14-year-old and an older man who remains in critical condition. The suspect was also identified as Safi Dawood from Afghanistan. This attack has once more inflamed already high tensions, and so far no high-ranking official in government has even acknowledged that the brutal attack took place. The migration minister is so far the only one in government to acknowledge the attack, and he only did so to condemn any misinformation about the event, but notably not actually stating that any misinformation was occurring. In any case, ignoring the crime like this has dialed up anger to new heights, and the various counter-movements gaining traction around the nation have been cause for concern as well. These counter-movements have mostly spoken for themselves in terms of highlighting what's going on throughout British society. Concerning the Kibatu case from a few days ago, details continue to be released that make the situation worse. Kibatu was deported to Ethiopia immediately upon his recapture, after which he made a recorded video explaining what happened from his perspective. His testimony included the detail that he did become aware that he was wanted during his escapades throughout London, and that he tried to turn himself in to a uniformed police officer. According to Kibatu himself, the officer ignored him and drove off. Granted, this is the testimony of a rapist and illegal migrant, so the sourcing is not exactly the most reliable. Nevertheless, this testimony does align with the public details of the scandal as it unfolded, and has caused a lot more focus on the response to this scandal. This concludes The Wire for 2300 Zulu, October 29th, 2025.